my darling souls. Welcome back, welcome back. Today is Thursday, which of course means that it is Final Fantasy XIV Day. And yes, I went and I got the Chocobo. Finally. So we can actually... So it won't take as long for us to get between areas anymore. Now granted, because I haven't completed these areas, so like I don't have the upgraded movement speed in them yet, but it's at least faster than walking. Also, I'm sorry if I sound a little bit off today. I made the mistake of deciding that I was going to grind up some black pepper by hand for a thing that I was doing, and my sinuses now hate me for it. And it's entirely my fault, but I probably sound like ass because of it. Hello, CTR, welcome by. How are you doing today? I hope your Thursday afternoon is going well. You're back. Tell me the Sylph Elder is well. Thank the gods for that. I don't rightly know what to make of the rest of your tale, but I'm full glad Frixio didn't come to any harm. But there I go, tempting fate. Run over to Little Solace and secure us peace with the Sylphs before aught else befalls us, eh? Rest assured, I'll send word to our friends of Charlian and the Twin Adder both. You've done Gridania a great service this day, lass, and earned yourself a place of honor here at the Druthers in so doing. Be sure to come by whenever you feel like a drop of Kirin firewater. Hello, Alnick. Welcome by. None of that armor is useful for me. I'm good doing a Gungeon run, and by floor 2 I'm already stupid OP. I mean, that's kind of the great thing about roguelikes like that, though, is that sometimes you'll have a run where just nothing seems to be going right. And then on others, you will just have the most ridiculous luck. And it's great. I love those runs. Say, friend, there's something I'd like to ask you to see delivered to the Sylphs of Little Solace. This Zima Rose Oil. It's a gift to celebrate the safe return of their tribe's elder, and a token of Gridania's desire to unite. The wood is not what it once was. The calamity changed the elementals, weakened them. Until their strength is returned, we must lend them ours to keep the woods safe. But ours alone will not be enough. We must have the strength of the Sylphs as well. Only by working together and fighting together will we survive together, and the 12s would with us. The gift I ask you to bear is a symbol of the hope that both Gridanian and Sylph alike will live to see the light beyond this darkness. Yay! Oh, looks like somebody's playing, wow, why is my brain not giving me the correct name for the card game? I know it. I actually play it like all the freaking time. Wow. I'm dumb today. Oh. Also, I just noticed apparently my model crashed. Give me just a moment. I didn't realize I had it up before I started stream. I didn't realize that VTube Studio had crashed on me. Give me just a second while I get that set back up. Sorry about that. Oh. There we go. Now I should show up properly. Oh. Much better. Brain going burr. I mean, yeah, it do go burr though. Let's see, there's a gun in the game called Gunder Fury, and it is one of the 2 guns that can level up, but this one can get up to level 60 and will remain that level forever, even in future runs, and mine is at max level and it practically insta-kills every enemy. Nice. Yeah, that's definitely OP. But, you know, since you actually, like, took the time to be able to get it up that high of a level, like, I think that's a pretty damn good reward for that. Hello, Soggy. Welcome by. How are you doing today, hon? I hope your Thursday has gone well. There's a dude who's just casually on a fire Segway. Good, have you been? I have been okay, except for today. I have made a mistake today. Hello, Foxy. Welcome by. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you've been doing well. But I have made a mistake today. So, when I woke up this morning, I apparently chose violence against myself. Because so I had some black peppercorn that I needed to grind up for a thing that I needed to do. And like I have to grind it by hand because I don't have like a pepper grinder that you can actually like refill. I just have like the super cheap ones you get from the store that you can't open without breaking them. So I have a heavy duty mortar and pestle that I use for these sorts of things. And I go to basically just grind it this morning, just like I need to get this done. I'll just go ahead and do this before stream. Guess why this was a bad idea. Like, you can probably hear it in my voice why this was a bad idea, but just guess why this was a terrible idea. And if you're having trouble like guessing why this was such a bad idea, it's because pepper dust went everywhere. You know how like if you get, you know, a little bit of pepper up your nose, you kind of like end up sneezing? Now imagine that you get a ton of it, freshly ground, so it's a lot more potent than it normally is. Yeah, imagine you get like just a full sinus full of that up your nose. It's not pleasant. And my sinuses hate me today. So I'm sorry if I sound a little bit weird today. I probably will, because I was stupid this morning. Rip, the pepper chose violence towards you. No, I chose violence towards myself because I'm stupid sometimes. That's what happened there. Pepper didn't choose violence. Pepper just did what Pepper gonna do. There you are. We've just been hearing tell of your deeds of daring do. Well done. The walking ones who aided Noraksha. This one is grateful. A pleasure to have been of service. If you do not mind my asking, how did your misadventure come about? This one does not mind. The misadventures, as Walking One calls them, of this one began when the Imperial ones entered the wood. Fearing trouble, these ones decided to watch Imperial ones closely. Hello, Panzer! Welcome by! How are you doing today? I hope your Thursday is going very well. But these ones watched too closely, and Imperial ones noticed and tried to catch these ones. Having nowhere else to hide, this one fled to Totorak. That this one had not. In Totorak, a sinister one robed in black tried to feed this one to a many-legged one. I really hate having to try to read these people's dialogue. It is really confusingly written sometimes. A sinister one robed in black. Why do I have the feeling I should be more worried about that than I am? Elder Frixio, we come to you as emissaries of the nation of Gridania. This missive bears the words of the Elder Seedseer. This one sees... So the walking ones of Gridania are fearful of Lord Ramu. Plainly put, yes. Your people summoned the Lord of Levin but once, yet that single occurrence occasioned great alarm. But it's not as if the Gridanians dislike you or anything. Actually, it's just the opposite. They think of you as friends, and they don't want anything to get in the way of that. That's why the Elder Seedseer wrote to you. This one well knows and respects the horned one, Kani Senna. Be assured, like walking ones of Gridania, these ones have no desire for conflict. Doing good. My head cold is starting to clear up. Oh, good. I didn't know you were feeling under the weather, but I'm glad to hear that you're starting to feel better now. Head colds suck. Like, they're not bad enough. They're usually not bad enough to lay you up, but it just makes you miserable trying to do anything else. I've definitely had my fair share of them. These ones resorted to summoning Lord Ramu to protect the woods from Imperial ones. This one counseled against doing so, but was not heeded. Against this one's wishes, Lord Ramu was summoned, and all those ones who took part became touched ones. These ones want so desperately to turn touched ones back to normal ones, but did not know how, and still do not know. Touched ones, meanwhile, wanted to turn these ones into touched ones, and did know how. So this one fled to little solace with all those ones who did not wish to be born, or to be bound to Lord Ramu. But walking ones of Gridania need not fear touched ones or Lord Ramu. Unlike other primordial ones, Lord Ramu is not callous and cruel. So long as walking ones do not trespass on these ones' ancestral homeland, where touched ones reside, walking ones will not suffer thunderous judgment. But this one has spoken enough of touched ones. This one would speak instead of these ones. As this one said, these ones desire peace with walking ones of Gridania, and these ones ask for a chance to set things right. By way of an addendum, mortals who are tempered come to take on the qualities embodied by the primal in question. In the case of the Sylphs, Ramu's influence has made them fiercely protective of their homeland. Explains why they're so hostile towards trespassers, but what about the abductions? A fine question, Ida. The abductions are, I believe, an expression of the tempered Sylph's desire for reconciliation, another quality traditionally associated with Ramu. In the crudest manner imaginable, they seek to bring their fellows back into the fold, a timely reminder that the challenges posed by each primal are unique. Elder Frixio, we thank you for making your will known to us. The people of Gridania will rest easier in the knowledge that they and the Sylphs are united in their desire for peace. Wishing to cooperate, this one has written down the feelings of these ones. Please see that the feelings are conveyed to Horned One, Kani Senna. And with that, I believe we can lay the matter of Ramu to rest. I mean, we do gotta fight him eventually. Like, he's still a primal. He's still a drain on the ether in the area. Like, just because he's not hostile right now doesn't mean shit. Sylph Elder's very reasonable, I must say. You could learn a lot from him. Was that a jibe? If so, I feel it only fair to observe that one of us wouldn't recognize reason if it punched her on the nose. Did I say fair? I meant reasonable. Okay, children, cut it out. Anyway, we're going to head back to the Waking Sands and tell Minfilia all about it. Fear not, we will be sure to mention the instrumental part you played in all of this. And while we see to that, we should appreciate it if you would deliver Frixio's missive to the Adder's Nest. Elder Frixio, we humbly thank you for your time. It has been an honor. Yeah, like, this whole dynamic is part of the reason why I really don't like Papalimo and Ida at all. Like, I 100% think that they are the worst of the Scions. The honor is this one's. Together, let the walking ones of Gridania and these ones find a way to live in peace. Please wait, Walking One. This one has yet to give Walking One a token of this one's appreciation. When these ones summoned Lord Ramu, these ones were gifted this crystal. This one would now bestow the crystal upon Walking One as symbol of these one's trust. I miss Papalimo. I don't like Papalimo. I do not like him at all. also, is this one of the areas that they tweaked with the patch, like with the 5.3 patch? Because, granted, it's been years since I played this section of the game, but I vaguely remember, like, you having to fight Ramuh. Like, you actually had to go through the Syl's ancestral homelands, and you had to fight Ramuh. Like, this part was significantly longer. Granted, it's been a long time since I've played it, but that's what I remember. This one was not mistaken about Walking One. Walking One is destined to walk a fate far crueler than this one can imagine. A brilliant light from within Walking One enveloped the crystal. This one saw. Mark this one well. That crystal will one day be of use to Walking One. Walking One must keep that crystal safe at all times. And yeah, no, I don't like Papalimo. I think he's obnoxious, and I think he's far too up his own ass, frankly. Which, granted, is an issue I can levy at a number of the different Scions. But I think Papalimo is the worst. Why is my mouth not working properly? What the hell? Before Walking One returns to Gridania, this one would ask Walking One to watch Touched Ones. So long as Touched Ones are not troubled, Touched Ones will not make trouble. If Walking One witnesses Touched Ones making no trouble, mayhap Walking One can testify to Walking Ones of Gridania that these ones mean no harm. These ones' homeland is fraught with danger. This one marks down safe places to look out for Touched Ones. Oh, as this dude just casually dances. But yeah, like I said, I know my complaint about Papalimo could be levied at plenty of the other Scions of the 7th Dawn, but yeah, I'm not a fan of him. Like, it did not bother me in the slightest when, you know, certain things happened in Stormblood. Though, granted, I think that also could have been handled better if, like, they had that come a little bit later. Like, I've had this discussion with Gaz and a couple of other people about how the Stormblood expansion story would have been so much better if only they had done things in, like, a slightly different order. They had events happen in a different order. Because, like, the story itself, I like the general bones of the story that they wanted to tell. But yeah. I'm not a big fan of how they actually went about telling it. And, like, I'm trying to be light on spoilers for people who haven't gotten to Stormblood yet. And everything like that, but, yeah. It is definitely the weakest expansion, and for pretty good reason. I think Stormblood covers, like, higher level topics and is less relatable because most people do not experience it now. I mean, yes and no, because to be fair, like, Heavensward and Shadowbringers both deal with very heavy, like, high level topics. Like, you know, Heavensward, and this is a little bit of spoilers, but I can't make my point without getting into some of them, so sorry, this is your warning. Like, Heavensward goes into, you know, how a government actually, like, manipulates how it presents the past and how it lies to its people in order to keep a status quo going. Like, that's not a light topic. You know, or the effects of, like, found family with the Fourth Hump family and how they take you in, you know, after everything happens. And, you know, yeah, like, it's a thing. My issue is this, begone bot! Anyway, I also think that, like, Stormblood is genuinely just the weakest written of all of them. Like I said, the bones of the story are good, but they don't give you enough time to really mesh with certain characters. The pacing is all over the place, and, like, not in a good way. And, like, for a conflict that, you know, that really, like, you know, part of the reason why your character is so invested is because of the fact that it has, like, part of the conflict in Eorzea, with Elise and Raubon and all of them, like, you know, the fact that you spend, like, 90% of the expansion in Doma is kind of also a problem, because, like, like, sure, it's cool seeing another area, and I'm glad that they gave that to us, but spending so much time there when, like, you know, you're really just wanting to get back to Eorzea and deal with the conflict there, like, you know, that it just doesn't sit well. And, like, I've talked with a number of other people who agree with me on that as well. Hello, Dragoon. You know, it's just one of those things. The Sylphic folk have long been friends to Gridania. The mere thought of being at war with them pained the Elder Seedseer to no end. But, owing to your efforts, she will be able to rest easier. Being the benevolent soul that she is, my lady will surely try to find a way to reverse the tempering process. To be fair, like, when I eventually get to, like, the Stormblood content in this playthrough, because I will be playing through all of that, like, I'll be able to better voice what I mean about the pacing and what order I feel events should have gone in order to make the plot, like, a little bit stronger. I just can't go into too much detail because, like I said, I don't want to get too heavy into spoilers, you know. Once again, I thank you. Had the Scions of the Seventh Dawn not offered to mediate between our peoples, suspicion and doubt may well have led us into needless conflict. Pray, pass on my regards to Lady Minfilia. Hello, Lilith, can you hear me? It is I, Minfilia. Oh, speak of the devil. Ida and Papalimo returned some little while ago, and they wasted no time in regaling me with the tale of your exploits. Thanks in large part to you, the name of one primal may be struck from our list of enemies, and the Gridanians may turn their attention to more pressing matters. Well done. Yet at the end of one tale is but the start of another. Pray return to the Waking Sands at your earliest convenience. I would apprise you of the present situation in person. Yeah, back to Horizon we go. But yeah, I'm also one of those people that just, like, has a lot of thoughts, TM, about this game and its plot and, like, the order in which everything happens and everything. And to be fair, like, 90% of those thoughts are pure praise. I love how this game handles a lot of things, including how it handles, like, just very heavy subjects. I said I gave a little bit of spoilers for Heavensward, and Shadowbringers is a lot darker than Heavensward, you know, ever was. And, like, even in base game, you know, there's some pretty dark stuff that it touches on, and I think it handles it all really well, actually. You know, that, and I do actually think that the game also manages to strike a really good balance between really dark, really heavy subjects and, like, comedic relief as well. And granted, if you had asked me about that, like, before I had completed Heavensward, I probably would have disagreed. Like, I started the Hildebrand quests before I actually got to Heavensward, and, like, I ended up dropping them part of the way through because they were just too silly for how I was feeling at the end of base game. And then Heavensward happened. And then, you know, Stormblood happened. And then Shadowbringers happened. Because granted, I didn't finish the Hildebrand quest till after I completed... Oh, no, I need to speak with Tataru. Why was I going in here? I didn't actually complete the Hildebrand quest until I had already finished Shadowbringers. But, you know, by the time I got to those, like... Yeah, the comedy was very needed. And it felt much better going through it, simply because it was just such a really nice contrast between the really dark, you know, and heavy tones of the game and, you know, the absolute comedy that is Hildebrand. Also, my mouth is really bothering me. Give me just a second while I try to calibrate this. Why is it doing that? Like, I've never really had this big of an issue with it opening before. Oh, that's why. I don't have my smoothing on correctly. That should hopefully make it a little bit easier. Either that or VTube Studio is just going to continue to be a pain. Which very well might be the case. But oh well. Not much I can do about that. Well, if it isn't my favorite adventure, welcome back. Lady Minfilia awaits you within the solar. Please enter at your leisure. Really? You had to make me talk to her just so she could tell me that, instead of just letting me go to the solar? Really? I'm given to understand the matter of Ramuh has finally been resolved. If your resolve bespeaks a permanence we cannot rightly claim, and I am well satisfied that the Lord of Levin will not trouble us in the foreseeable future. Your satisfaction is assurance enough for me. How fares the investigation? Well enough. Thancred is sparing no effort. There are many in one, just as you suspected. Their purpose, however, eludes us still. I see. I've been meaning to ask, but is Alize quite well? I feel as if I have scarcely seen her in recent days. Oh, you haven't, and nor have I, alas. Alize has chosen to walk her own path, stubborn girl, but you may be assured that our destination remains the same. And on that note, I take my leave of you. I trust the Baldessian report will serve you well. I take it we can proceed as discussed. Why do you ask? You scarce need my permission to ask. Or to act. English! Work with me today, please. And off you go. It is good to see you again. I have been looking forward to congratulating you on your triumph in the Twelveswood. Owing to your efforts, conflict has been averted. Truly, you have done the Scions proud. With that, we can strike Ramuh from the list. So who's next? The Sahagin and Leviathan? The Lord of the Whirl has not answered his minions' call of late, nor is he expected to do so in the near future. While the Sahagin remain as aggressive as ever, they lack the quantity of crystals required to call forth their god. As with the Sylphs, we can leave them to their own devices. For a time, at least. For a time bears repeating. We can ill afford to fall complacent. It is as Ishola says, unless we know the minds of the beast tribes, we cannot predict with any certainty when next a primal will return to plague the land. This being the case, we must proceed with as much haste as prudence allows. Any word on Titan? The maelstrom keeps the kobolds under constant observation. We shall hear from them ere long, you may depend on it. Indeed. So then, of all the known primals that have been active in recent times, we are left with... Gridania! Wait, I meant Garuda, who is the primal of the Ixal who live near Gridania. Yes, that's what I meant. So many realms to cover. Would that there were a more efficient way to conduct our surveys. Were he still with us, we should not long have wanted for a more practical solution. She's not wrong there. Where in the world are you, Chief? But one sure step at a time. Henceforth, the Order of the Twin Adder will handle all matters pertaining to the Sylphs, under the sage guidance of the Seed Seers. I bid you all a moment's respite. You have earned it. Yep, sure. I mean, you know, I'm the one who did, like, the heavy lifting. But sure, they deserve the respite. Is there something else? Yes! A reward, please. I did most of the heavy lifting. Beg pardon. A man named La Habrea sporting a red mask and robed in black? 12 preserve. Prior to the calamity, the Ascians took great pains to remain hidden. Why would they choose to cast off their veil of secrecy now? This bodes ill. We must take advantage of the present lull in primal hostilities and investigate this La Habrea. Learn all we can of him and his designs. I dread to think... Oh. Let's go rescue the Lalafell. Somebody probably tried to punt her again. A sylph? In Thanalan? At long last, this one finds walking one Lilith. This one is most dependable of these ones, is sent by Elder One Frixio to help walking ones. This one is called Noraxia. This one comes as a friend. Let these ones be friends. Pleased to meet you, Noraxia. Woo! I forgot how cutscene heavy this part was. And I've still got to go back into here for what I believe is another cutscene. But yes, I hope everyone here is having a wonderful Thursday so far. I know it's a little bit early in the day, so some of you may not have had a chance to do much in your day yet. But either way, I still hope it's going well. Yes, Tataru is as ready to express her fright as she is to express everything else. Not all of us are forged of the same steel as you, I'm afraid. But it takes all kinds to make a family, and it pleases me to no end to see ours continue to grow. One by one, the people of Eorzea are beginning to unite, drawn to the hope that shines within you. Yet a darkness threatens to engulf this light. Never have I doubted the Ascian's presence. Sin! Hello! Hold on. Hello, Sin. How are you doing? Also, hello, Raiders. Welcome, welcome. For those of you who don't know me, I am Lilith Nox, your demon waifu. I am a variety streamer. I play everything from JRPGs to shooters to pretty much whatever I want, as long as it's not a sports game. I also occasionally do art. How was your stream, Sin? What were you playing today? As you can see, we are doing some main story progression here in Final Fantasy XIV. And I finally got my chocobo, which means I'm no longer having to just run across huge expanses of land. I can go slightly faster on a giant bird. It was fun, played some Cluster Truck. I have never heard of Cluster Truck. It sounds like a fun game, but I have never heard of that. I'm afraid there's no rest for the weary, Lilith. We must delve further into the motivations of the masked man, the Ascian known as La Habrea. This is an ideal moment to do so, while our hands are not bound with dealing with another primal. Hey, no worries. It is lovely to see you here in my chat, Skull Champion. Welcome by. You jump on the back of trucks to the finish line. Lots of fun. Oh, that does sound like a lot of fun. I might have to look into that. At present, we know little and less about the Ascians, only that destruction follows in their wake. I should not be surprised if these beings are behind the chaos that racks the realm. If my fears prove to be a reality, we must do all in our power to stop them. Earlier, I sent word to each Grand Company to solicit cooperation. The Immortal Flames responded to the effect that they have information on a potential sighting. Moving parkour insanity. Hell yeah! Hardcore parkour! This is intelligence that we can ill afford to ignore. Go speak with the Flame Commander Swift at the Hall of Flames in Ul'dah to inquire further. How you go about the investigation thereafter, I leave wholly to your discretion. But whatever you do, never forget that we are dealing with the unknown. You cannot take too many precautions. Be safe. But yes, Sin, if you are still in chat, would you like to see my chocobo? Once I get out of the Waking Sands, I can show it to you. Also, apologies if my voice sounds a little bit weird to anyone. I chose violence against myself this morning, and for a thing that I was working on, I was freshly grinding black pepper by hand, and yeah, I have fucked up my sinuses, and they're probably going to be terrible for the entire rest of the day. So I am sorry if I sound a little bit odd. But yes, here's my chocobo. It is literally just the default chocobo for, you know, for Maelstrom, but it's a chocobo. He is a very good chocobo. And I named him after a particular VTuber. I will give you 3 guesses who I named it after, and the first 2 don't count. What am I doing? I need to teleport, actually. Yeah, he is a big bird. He's a very good bird, though. Yep, I named him after Krim. I mean, to be fair, like, the reason why I named him that is mostly because it's got the red barding, and I was just like, you know, that's the first name that comes to mind when I look at this bird. And then, of course, you can guess the jokes that he made about it. The Masked Man. Ah, you come on behalf of the Scions, of course. Yes, as we've already relayed to Lady Nymphilia, there has been a sighting of this rogue near Eastern Thanalan. I saw that on Twitter. Yeah, everything tastes like pepper. Like, I'm actually chewing on a piece of mint gum. It tastes like pepper. I take a drink of water. It tastes like pepper. I try to eat a sandwich, it tastes like pepper. My existence is just pepper today. Pepper and sneezing and painful sinuses Because I have chosen violence against myself. I can imagine the jokes. Oh yes, they went exactly as you imagine. A brass blade stationed at Highbridge described him in detail when he alerted us to suspicious activity. I would point you to the witness, but I'm afraid he died not 2 days ago, slain by a marauding hoarder of gearing. Fate can be a cruel mistress. But do not be too quick to despair. Being situated on a trade route, Highbridge sees its fair share of travelers. Folk are always coming and going, and some among them may well have caught a glimpse of your target. You could do worse than to speak with a merchant named Hihibaru. The fellow's always starved for customers, and he'd no doubt welcome your attention, whether or not you have coin or the mind to spend it. Some cinnamon essential oil might fix that. I don't know about that. I think cinnamon essential oil might just make that worse. Or, you know, make it so that all I smell or taste is cinnamon instead of pepper. But no, like I said, this is literally just what happens when, you know, you wake up and you choose violence against yourself. So, be warned. If you do witchy shit, don't grind herbs, like, directly before you stream. It's not a good idea. Learn from my mistakes. Wouldn't cinnamon be better than pepper? I don't know. Cinnamon burns a hell of a lot more than pepper does, to be completely honest with you. That, and there are definitely some things that do not taste good with the addition of cinnamon on top of it. Mint and cinnamon can go pretty well together. Cinnamon water? Okay. Cinnamon in a sandwich? Not so much. At least depending on what sandwich that I'm eating, you know, pepper in a sandwich, like, isn't going to be too bad. But I can't think of any sort of sandwich fillings that would go well with cinnamon. Welcome to Highbridge Adventure. Whatever you seek, I, Hihibaru, can provide it. Probably. You're after a masked man? Not sure if I have one of those in stock. Oh, you're after a masked man. Why didn't you say so sooner? Such an individual might have featured in one of the many rumors I've heard. If you will linger a while, mayhap you'll learn a thing or two, eh? PB&J. I can't see cinnamon going well with peanut butter. Like, I've tried a couple of different flavored peanut butters, and I don't like them. So I can't see, like, cinnamon and peanut butter going well together. At least not for me. When the Order of Nalthal began excavating the ruins below, I had hopes that the Highbridge would turn into a bustling hub for pilgrims. But thanks to the nigh-endless beastman raids, the folk are too afraid to come within a Malmove here. Sold everything I own to get my venture started, and I'm loath to give up without making an earnest effort to stick it out. But if things keep going as they are, I'll be bankrupt before the moon is through. Whining won't do me any good, though. No, for my business to survive, I need a business. Speaking of which, perchance you'd like to browse my wares, spend a bit of coin to help a struggling merchant. The masked man? Bah, thou'll take your bloody masked man. I know what I said before, but vague rumors are all I've got. If you want to know about him, go and ask the other merchants. I should go and eat something, but have a great stream, dearie. Aw. Well, I hope you enjoy your food, Sin. Thank you so much for the raid and for stopping by. I always love seeing you. We need to do a collab soon. Like, I know we were talking about it, and then, like, life stuff happened for both of us. But we need to do this at some point. Alright, let's go talk to the other merchants. Yes. I will probably message you on Discord or Twitter a little bit later this evening. And that way we can talk and, like, figure something out. Because that is a thing that we need to do. It has been far too long. I've heard tell of the Masked Devil. Seems he's been appearing not only around Highbridge, but elsewhere in Thanalan too. Been so off the map lately, we'll plan. I feel that, like, my existence on Twitter has been like at an all-time low lately just because I've had so much other shit going on. I haven't had the energy for it. So believe me, I feel you. Enough folk have reported seeing him to convince me he's more than a figment of the imagination, but little is known about him otherwise. Also, can I just point out how pretty the nighttime skybox for this game is? Like, look at that. Full moon with, like, a beautiful halo around it. Full of stars. You can see their version of the Milky Way going through the sky. Like, look at that. I love the night sky in this game so much. And it's even better when you get like the big crystal spires in the in there. And if you pay like close attention, it actually is rotating. Like the stars are moving very slowly along with the moon. It's just so good. And then you see a meteor careening towards you. Oh no. Well, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if that was one of the things that ends up happening during like Endwalker. But actually, if you're not familiar, in the original 1.0 version of this game, Eorzea used to have 2 moons. There was this one, and there was another moon called Dalamoon. And I forget what this moon is called, for the record, so sorry about that. But there used to be 2 moons, and then when they were like ending 1.0 to shut down the servers and remake it into A Realm Reborn, aka the game we know now, what they actually did is they had that second moon. I'm not sure if it was already red or if it turned red, but basically it started inching closer and closer to the world. And like over the course of like 2 weeks, it just got bigger and bigger in the sky, and you could even see it during the daytime, and it started causing like all sorts of weird effects on the game, such as like high level monsters appearing in low level areas. It was actually really, really cool. Again, I've recommended this before, but if you ever have the opportunity to really go back and look at what they did for the transition from 1.0 into 2.0, I highly recommend it. It is so cool. Like, that is how you end a game. I just found out my Final Fantasy XIV sub expired yesterday. Oh no! Are you going to be resubbing back? On the Trail of the Masked Man. I've heard of him, but only in hushed tones and faint whispers. It's said he wears a black robe and looks right suspicious. That's about all I can say, little though it is. But yeah, Panzer, are you going to, are you planning on resubbing? Because I haven't had a chance to play this with you yet. Like, I've seen you post about it in my server a couple of times, but I haven't seemed to have been able to catch you when you're actually on. Have I seen a masked man wearing a dark robe? No, I haven't, nor do I wish to. Business is bad enough without shady characters looking about. Folk have been giving Highbridge a wide berth because of all the Kirin raids. None but the most devout of pilgrims is willing to come here anymore. I just love this game. I love this game so much. It's so good. I will, but maybe not right away. I want to get some real life stuff done this week, so I need to block the temptation. That is fair. That is absolutely fair. And I have had to do the same thing before. Where it's just like, you know, I want to do this thing, but my sub ran out, and now I've got other like real life shit that I need to be focusing on. So I can't get it, because then I will just play the game instead of, or do the thing instead of like actually doing what I need to be doing. Yeah, I feel that. Judging by your expression, I take it you didn't learn much of use. Look, I'm sorry for my rudeness earlier, it's just that things are so tough for us merchants at the moment. The keyring rates are so constant, so organized, we're beginning to suspect that someone is orchestrating it all. Cough, cough, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah, I will be getting back around to that. I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm kind of waiting until I can get my hands on a PlayStation 5 for that, because Integrate, and I'm assuming probably the later parts of 7 Remake are going to be on the PlayStation 5. Like, Integrate's a PlayStation 5 exclusive. And I'd really like to actually play that, because, like I said, I don't think it's worth it for me to spend, like, the money for the game only to have such a short amount of content and then basically have to buy it again when I get a PlayStation 5. So I would definitely like to, like I said, think I'd get a PlayStation 5, and then I feel better about, like, actually getting the game and playing through the rest of it and Integrate and all of that. I'm really enjoying how less addictive it is compared to WoW. Yeah, like this, like WoW is absolutely predatory with a lot of the shit that it's introduced into, like, into itself, specifically to keep you playing it. Whereas, like, Final Fantasy XIV, it just gives you good gameplay and good story. Like any other game. Like, it's not, like, fucking predatory in how it treats its content. And I'm happy about that. Like, it doesn't try to get you addicted to it. It's just like, here's a great experience. Experience it on your own time. How are you doing? Aw, hello, Alcatraz. Welcome by. And I'm doing well, except for the fact that I have chosen violence against myself today on accident. Because, and this is probably going to be like the third or fourth time that some of y'all in chat are hearing this, and I'm sorry about that. But I chose violence against myself today. I was a dumb, and I decided to hand grind some spices for, or specifically black pepper, for a thing that I am doing, a particular witchy thing that I am doing. And, you know, if you hand grind stuff like pepper, the dust kind of gets up into the air, and when it gets up into the air, you breathe it. And then your sinuses fucking hate you for the rest of the day. Everything tastes like pepper. Yep, basically. My sinuses hate me, my taste buds hate me, everything hates me. Because I was dumb. Also, I just got a random phone call. I keep my phone by my computer whenever I'm streaming, just in case, like, somebody needs to get a hold of me for whatever reason. And I just had a number pop up from a place that I used to work at, and I'm very confused by this for a couple of reasons. So this company, I have no issue saying what company it is, because I no longer, like, I haven't worked for them in well over 7 months at this point, and, like, I no longer even live in the same state as them. This company called Alorica, and they're a outsourcing call center, so they're, like, the call center that a lot of people, like, outsource, their calls to. And I worked with them for a while, and I actually did enjoy working for them for the most part. Like, they weren't the best, but, like, they didn't pay, like, particularly well, but I actually got the chance to just fuck off most of the day, under one of the clients that I was under, where I was basically providing technical support to a bunch of, like, teachers and students for their, for, like, the programs that they use. Like, it was literally Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, if you're familiar with them, HMH. If you have, like, if you're in school and do any sort of thing online, or if you, like, are a teacher or know a teacher, I guarantee you know this company. They are the biggest company when it comes to a lot of this shit, including the fact that they have either bought out Scholastic or they have bought, like, parts of Scholastic's stuff and incorporated it into their own company. Like I said, I was fine working for them. Some teachers are dicks, but for the most part, they were all pretty understanding, when, like, learning the ropes, and like having to deal with trickier like technical problems. Even then, their technical problems weren't too bad. Unfortunately, after their busy season ended, I got switched to a different client, to USAA, which, as you know, is a bank. Or rather, for those of you who aren't in the US and thus may not know, it is a bank. Which was concerning for me, because this was not a technical support role for this. And that's what I do. I do tech support for a living. The client that I was originally under was technical support. This banking was banking support. I have never done banking support in my life. I don't even bank with a traditional bank. So thus, I'm not even, like, familiar with a lot of this shit from an outside perspective. And I'll go into how shitty their training was for this shit, in just a moment. But, basically, like, during their, what they call nesting period, which if you've ever worked at a call center, you know what that is. And for those of you who don't, it's basically, a period, like, after you've completed training where, you don't quite have enough experience to actually, I don't have the thing for that. Welp. But basically, like, you've finished the training, but you don't quite have enough experience to really, like, be left alone by yourself on the phone just yet. So you're kind of just ramping your way back up into, like, actual production. And I got let go in the nesting period because, again, I don't know banking. And their training was shit. And I'll go into that. So, I unfortunately did something that, and I had no support during this particular call that I was on, because I got kicked out of the systems and nobody was responding to my messages to get me back into the systems that I needed for support. So I did something wrong on a call, which, was because I had no support. It was an issue that I had never encountered before, that the training hadn't prepared me for, that I needed to ask for help on, and I could not fucking get a hold of anybody. And then the customer got really, really pissy and basically escalated. And because if you've ever worked any sort of customer service role, you know that the moment somebody escalates, you basically just immediately get fired on the spot because they just don't want to deal with it. So that was fun. But going further into that, so I was let go and I had to, like, bring my equipment back to this company. I was pissed, like, through this entire process. But, I did it. And then, I want to say maybe a month or so ago, I got a call from my old, I am not going the correct way to get in here, am I? No, I'm not. I got a call from what had been my previous manager. When I had worked for HMH, like under HMH as a client. I got a call from my manager there who's just like, oh man, we're so happy to hear that you're going to be coming back to our client, Wait, no, this is not the way in. I am so confused. Oh, there it is. When, now that our high period's starting back up again, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just sitting here like, I no longer work for this company. Like, when you get fired from a specific client, you are fired from the company. Like, they don't keep you on. They don't move you around. You're gone. So, to be fair, like, I was just like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm still pissed about what happened. I am literally just going to ignore this. And I did. I ignored the text message. And now, like, this is the second time, I think. I want to double check, but I think this is the second time I've gotten a call from Alorica. No, actually. They've actually called me a couple of times, and a number of times, and I've just missed it. They've been calling me since June 22nd. June 22nd, 24th, 28th, July 6th, July 14th, July 16th, July 20th, and then just now. Jesus fuck. I missed, like, pretty much all of those calls. Because I keep my phone on vibrate, and I don't And the only time it actually rings is if it's for someone in my contacts list, which they sure as fuck are not, because I get a fuck ton of spam calls. So I'm actually kind of wondering why the fuck they're calling me, because I gave them back, like, all of their equipment. I'm not sure why, like, my old manager thought I would be coming back to work for them, like, you know, after I had been let go. Unless somebody at USAA really fucked up and kept me, like, on the records for some reason. Which, again, I don't understand, because if they had, I would have been showing up as, like, a no-call, no-show for, like, fucking months. So I'm very confused. I'm curious as if they left a voicemail. Because if they did, I'm going to have to look into it and see why. Like, just why? But yeah. So anyway, I really hate the training that they had for USAA specifically. And mind you, again, call center shit, if you've ever worked at a call center, you know that most of the time the training is created by and provided by the client. It's not usually created by the company itself. So, like, Alorica wouldn't have created much of the training material for USAA. It would have been provided to them by USAA. So, probably a combo platter of USAA incompetence and desperation to get employees due to current job market trends. I mean, maybe. Like I said, I'm confused. I have no fucking clue. Also, you are supposed to be working, sir. Mr. Miloxos. You are supposed to be working. But, so the training that I had to go through for USAA, was bullshit, frankly. Like, no cap, bullshit. Our trainer basically just sat us down with a whole bunch of training videos and, like, and we had this knowledge base, which is, you know, cool. Like, I've worked plenty of technical support jobs. Like, typically you have, like, a knowledge base, sort of thing to go with that. And knowledge base being like sort of like a wiki, in a sense, where you get a whole bunch of articles for, like, frequently asked questions or some uncommonly but important, you know, questions. And it's there because, you know, you're not going to remember every single thing that you've got to do for a job, especially, like, working in any kind of support role. Like, there's a lot of shit that goes into that. And then basically all she did was give us, like, the pages to bookmark. She didn't go over, like, really any of the information that was actually on any of these support pages. Just, hey, you need to bookmark these. Not when they would be used, not why we're bookmarking them, other than, you know, oh, you know, this pertains to a question that may come up, but just, you need to bookmark these. I'm still ticked off, too, because it's just like, okay, well, you know, if I don't know, like, what kinds of questions pertain to this, how the fuck am I supposed to, like, you know, use this effectively? Or if, like, if you're not giving me enough time, because we weren't even given really enough time to go through the pages of said knowledge base that we were just bookmarking shit through. Like, if you're not giving me enough time to actually go through this, how the fuck am I supposed to be able to do my job effectively? And of course, you know, there was a search function in this knowledge base, which is great, because then you can search, like, keywords in regards to a question if you have one and you don't know what to do for it. Except that their search in this particular knowledge base was next to fucking useless. Because USAA is a huge company. It is absolutely massive. And they have all sorts of different branches. Like, I was specifically under deposit servicing. That was what I did. I could not do anything else. I was under deposit servicing. And, you know, that's true of, like, a lot of different technical support companies, too, again, that use these sorts of knowledge bases. Ooh, glasses. Hell yes. I finally have round glasses. I am keeping these forever. But yeah, anyway, so, you know, most of the time in a tech support role, if you have a knowledge base, it will usually be sectioned off so that way only those of a specific role can see what is actually applicable to their role. Like, they will, if they do a search, they will only get results that are relevant to their role. You know, like if I did tech support as a tier 1, I'm not going to be getting tier 3 results, you know, when I do a search. Actually, what am I doing? I need Chocobo. Apparently USAA did not prescribe to this ideal, in that, literally, you know, every single, like, possible branch that they had, like, every single department that they had, all of their articles were in this knowledge base, and none of them were partitioned off. You could not even, effectively, like, filter out to get the results that you wanted, because if you tried, you would very often not get the actual answer to your question, because a lot of articles were mislabeled. A lot of them were out of date, and there was not a good reporting system for, like, when something was out of date or when something was mislabeled. You just had to know. AKA, something that only comes with experience. And you know what's going to happen when you have that sort of experience already? You're not going to be using the knowledge base that often. Which means that people who were actually using the knowledge base had no way of actually reporting that they were not getting the information that they needed. And again, because it was not properly taught to us how to use this fucking knowledge base or anything, you know, by our trainers, like, we had no way of learning how bad it was until we were already in nesting. Like, we couldn't really bring it up to our trainers. They didn't have enough people, like, actively appropriately covering people during nesting, because it was very difficult to get questions answered in a timely manner, which is even worse, because when you're in nesting, you are still responsible for your call stats. And you know what is typically considered the most important call stat in a call center? Your average handle time. The amount of time you're actually on a call. Do you know what gets you in trouble? Like, in nesting, and can prevent you from graduating from nesting to production, aka you end up getting fired? Your average call handling time. You know what's a huge problem? When you don't have enough people covering your people in nesting in order to make sure that questions can be handled in an appropriate time frame. Because, of course, they treated it like they were not responsible for you having a high average handle time because you were not getting your questions answered. No, you just had to, you know, take it upon yourself to learn. Bitch, when am I supposed to take it on myself to learn? We are getting back-to-back calls, and you did not give us time during training for this. Also, your fucking training gave us even if we had, like, a good training, which we didn't, like, the videos and stuff that they made us go through, like, the material that they made us go through, gave us no, context for when we were supposed to be using this shit. At all. So many problems in it. Yeah, like, there are so many problems with this. Like, I'm so angry. I'm still really salty about it. And it's been half a year. Because, oh my god, we lost more than half of the people in like, my training class. And we had a huge training class. A lot of who were people who came over from HMH, because most of the people who, you know, left HMH, you know, when the high period dropped off, would go to USAA, and then they would just switch back and forth every year, or, you know, hopefully get a permanent position with HMH. There's only, like, room for so many permanent agents over there. And so I knew a lot of the people who came over to USAA with me. I was not the only person who had this problem. And I was not the only person who got fired over this problem. I hate it. But, you know, because the client was a dick, and the people on the USAA side, and mind you, like, it was like night and day between the managers in like the USAA side versus the HMH side. Like, whoops, the ones at the USAA side would not advocate for their agents at all. It was basically like, you know, even if they knew you were an excellent agent, which mine fucking told me I was, like, I was the highest praised person in my training class, and that's not me tooting my own horn. Like, I am a fucking amazing expert. I am amazing at what I do. It's just fucking exhausting, which is why I don't do it anymore. You know, they still, like, refuse to advocate for me or anything. It's just like, nah, this is what the client says, so this is what the client's got. This is what's gotta happen. You know, sorry, not sorry. And it's just like, y'all are fucking dicks. Oh, wait, no, that's in my actual inventory. Whereas, like, the HMH side of things, they would actively advocate for you. Actually, this is better. But, like, genuinely, they would advocate for you. Like, if there was, if, like, a customer was saying, like, stupid shit or, like, causing a problem, you know, HMH would look over your, like, our managers at HMH would look over your interactions with them and, like, assuming that, you know, you were either doing what you were supposed to be doing or were putting up the best effort that you could, like, if you were in nesting, they would look to see, like, had you, you know, reached out to people, were you trying to get help, were you given a solution? And if you were not, and if you were, like, actively trying to reach out and you just did not get, like, nobody was helping you for whatever reason, they would stand up for you for that shit because you did the best you could. Like, if they saw you using your materials, they advocated for your ass. And USAA did not. And they lost a lot of really good people because of it. And Alorica as a company has lost a lot of really good people for it. And also, I think this is fucking hilarious. Around the beginning of June, end of May, beginning of June, because it was literally right, like, the day before I left for my trip when I went to Texas. Alorica apparently has been in a class action lawsuit for them failing to pay overtime to their people as well. And from what I can tell, it does specifically seem to be the people on the, like, USAA side and other clients that they have, not the HMH side. And I'm sitting here like, you know, with the way that we were treated under USAA, this doesn't fucking surprise me in the slightest. And, like, the day before I left, I literally got, like, a check from the settlement that they had for this lawsuit of, like, $12. I was just like, I mean, I never did overtime for them because fuck that noise, but, cool. That's 12 extra bucks. That's dinner on the road. But it's just like, I mean, come on. So yeah, I'm terribly amused. And like I said, I'm also like, I said, I'm really hoping that they left a voice message or something so I can go through that voice message and figure out what the fuck, like, what do they want from me? Damn it, I hit the never has $13 been so sweet. I mean, rounded up, it would have been 13 bucks because it was like 12 bucks and change. But yeah, right? And it's just like, okay, I mean, that's chill. I'm not complaining at all. You know. But yeah, I'm just terribly, terribly amused by this shit. Especially because I am also one of those people that, like, after I am done with a thing, I will 100%, like, take amusement in, like, the drama that comes of it afterwards. Like, Hello, Kuro. Welcome by. You missed a little bit of my story time here about the company that I used to work for, who was absolutely terrible and is calling me for some reason, and I can't figure out why. But how are you doing? I hope your Thursday is going well. Oh, yes. Uh, suffice to say, a company that I got fired from for bullshit reasons that, like months ago, like just before I started VTubing, has been my manager from a different client has been trying to contact me, and I'm just sitting here like, I'm no longer with this company. I've no longer been with them for half a year. What the fuck? You got a new mic? Ooh, what mic did you get? Did you get like a Blue Yeti, or did you get a different kind of mic? Also, don't mind as I'm like basically just skipping through the dialogue in this area. A lot of what's going on with these people isn't like directly related to the overall plot, so I have no issue like talking over them with my story because it's not relevant. It's literally just side shit. The HyperX Quadcast. Ooh. Very nice. I'll be looking forward to hearing the new mic next time you stream. Also, look, I got my chocobo! I no longer have to run on my own 2 feet across the, across these areas. I can now ride my chocobo. Let me click on him. But yeah, honestly, I have a lot of stories, like, from different places that I've worked. I worked for another, tech support company, called Azurion, and the stories I have from that place. Some of which, are not, like, mine specifically, some of which I have, picked up from other people during my time working there. But I worked at that place for 2 years. I got stories. Fuck legwork. Tonight we ride. Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, do y'all want to hear some from stories from when I? Do y'all want to hear stories from when I worked for Big Daddy Red Check, aka Verizon, at Azurion? Because I got some stories about them too. And for the record, yes, I call Verizon Big Daddy Red Check because a trainer that I was friends with at Azurion, that's what he called them. And I was just like, that's fucking hilarious. I'm stealing that. So yeah, now Verizon is and forever will be Big Daddy Red Check. Okay, so one of my favorite stories from that place. This is one that is not my story. Look, Ma, it's red Nike, but for phones. Yeah, basically. So this is not my story. This is a story that I heard from another good friend of mine who was actually there, who witnessed this shit. So, every so often, the clients that we serviced in that building would come by and do inspections just to make sure that we were holding up, like, to their privacy standards and everything. At the time, my building was Verizon and Sprint, I think. Yeah, Verizon and Sprint. And so we had the security guy from Verizon come in, did his check around the facility, making sure, like, people's desks were clean, like, we didn't have any, like, paper or anything out, because, we did deal with people's personal information, with, like, their phone numbers and everything, because we were, support for cell phones. So, I've made reference to the fact that I used to do technical support for phones. This is the company that I worked for that I did that through. Um, so we did, because we worked, like I said, with sensitive information, we weren't allowed to have any sort of writing implements or anything else on our desks. Now, that was not enforced, outside of, like, that was actually not enforced whenever we weren't under, like, audit. Like, most of our coaches, as long as they weren't brand new, did not give a shit. And I regularly spent, most of my time there drawing and working on other things. But, at this time during this audit, this particular security guy, was touring the facility with our actual head, like, the guy who's in charge of the entire building. And he, they were going through the area where, like, we had a loading zone for, loading in, like, computer equipment, because occasionally we would get, trucks with computer equipment, when we needed to, like, swap them out. So, this guy was saying that, that our building was not secure, because on the inside of our loading bay doors, aka you already having to be in the building and, you know, past several, like, security checkpoints, and, you know, RFID gated doors, that this area was not secure because from the inside, there was a motion sensor that allowed the door to open. And he tried to claim that you could totally slip a balloon underneath the loading bay door, fill it with helium, and be able to get in from the outside. Mind you, we did have balloons and helium on our site, because occasionally our people services coordinator, who at the time was Amy, was, you know, this lady named Amy. I know y'all have heard about her because Drider Lily and I have had some stories about that woman. I can see it as possible, but nobody's going to do that. No, that's the thing, though. So we had balloons and helium on our property, and he tried to claim that these specific balloons and helium would be the ones people would use to break in. Said helium and balloons were inside, past the security checkpoints, past the 2 different RFID doors. No, sorry, 3 RFID doors. So you had to have a badge, and then you had to have a special badge to get into the room that the party supplies were kept. Because you basically had to be a manager or the people services coordinator in order to be able to get into that room. And so he tried to claim this, and obviously that was pointed out as just like, my dude, they're not going to be able to get the balloons. But you know what? They decided to let him try and prove it anyway. So he went and grabbed the balloons and the helium, like they let him into the room to grab these. And then he tried to prove that he was right. He tried to slip the balloon under the door and inflate it with the helium in order to trigger the motion sensor. And apparently, he tried this for 45 goddamn minutes. Literally sitting there, struggling to get this fucking balloon underneath the door. Mind you, the doors were actually quite well sealed. Like, because we didn't want bugs in the building. And this was Florida. Cockroaches are a thing that are native to Florida. They're fucking everywhere. If you do not have something very well sealed, you're gonna get roaches, you're gonna get spiders, you're gonna get ants. Because that's just how it is. And so this was, he literally spent 45 minutes trying to do this, and it did not work at all. And like after a certain point, like our building head, Vandevord, just basically like shrugged and walked away. And apparently like 5 minutes later, the Verizon security dude like showed back up, and he stopped trying to claim that the bay doors were not secured. But oh my god, it was like, you really gonna sit there and try for 45 fucking minutes to prove your point? It's just like, you're wrong. And also, the balloons and shit were secure, and who the fuck is just going to casually, like, have like, balloons and helium on them to break into a building? Especially a building where you'd have to know that there were motion sensors in there in the first place. And if you knew that there were motion sensors in there in the first place, chances are you worked there and you could get in there already. Like... sound like you know what you're talking about, and you just sound like an ass, it seems. Yeah, that's basically it. Like, the Verizon security dude was insane, and we all knew it. And, like, and I know that can get used in an ableist way, but this dude, like, and this is coming from somebody who suffers with delusions. I am schizophrenic. This dude was fucking delusional with how he thought a lot of this shit would go down. Like, he thought that these people were going to that people were going to pull some Ocean's 11 style heist to get into fucking a Jurion. No, the fuck they weren't, because what we had in the building was not that valuable. Like, we had a bunch of Dell computers that basically just connected to a Citrix desktop. They had literally nothing else in them except enough power to connect to a Citrix desktop. Like, we had old-ass phones. Old-ass phones. That, again, needed to have, like, a specific subscription with the company that handled said phones in order to work. And we know because whenever their services went down, our entire call center would go down. And it was great, too, because I always loved when that happened, and, like, when they spent all day trying to get these back up, it made me very happy. But, yeah. This dude is also the reason why, we weren't allowed to have desk toys. So there was, like, a lot of, like, toys that you couldn't even use to, like, to really do anything with. And they weren't allowed. So, like, I had every single time, like, we were going under an audit, I would have to hide my Lego figures, because I had, like, Lego on my desk that I would play with, because I need to fidget during calls. Hell, I even fidget during streams. You know, I had to hide my Sinestro figurine that had been given to me by a coach that I had there, and I'm still mad that I wasn't able to grab that. Yeah, like... I think a Newton's Cradle was one of the few things that was allowed, and even then, it could only be on a coach's desk. You could not have one as an agent, because it would make noise, and if you had anything that made noise that could be heard over the phone, you weren't allowed to have it. So you were not allowed to have a Newton's Cradle at your desk, but your coach could have one. So, we had a program on our computers that was called NATSPad, and this particular program was like, NATS is literally an acronym for not able to save. It's literally like the notepad function on your computer, but you can't save anything on it. Like, it just had the save functionality completely removed from it. And it was specifically so that way we could jot down anything that we needed during a call. Like, for example, there were certain things that we would need to take down while working with cell phones, such as SIM card numbers, you know, internal ID numbers for phones, like whenever we're transferring service from one phone to another. And, you know, the person just didn't want to swap out SIM cards for whatever reason, or if the SIM cards were incompatible. And this information, we were not allowed to take down into our notes. If we tried to take those down into our notes, you would actually get into trouble for it. So we had NATSPad for us to be able to take down those sorts of things. But apparently, Verizon, about 6 months into my time being there, decided that that was a security risk and removed it entirely. Despite the fact that we couldn't save anything. And despite the fact that copy-pasting was disabled in a lot of our programs. So, yeah. We had that taken away, which made our jobs very difficult. and a lot of people got into trouble with like typing down their like SIM IDs and everything into their notes, with these people having like zero fucking recognition of the fact of those are 20-digit numbers. We're not going to be able to hold that in our heads. Oh, that's a cow. That's you know what? No, because I don't want to have to give up both my top and my bottoms again. But what if the computer crashes during a call? Good question. So because of the fact that we were using basically these Dell terminals connected to a Citrix desktop, Citrix is a remote desktop. It's a virtual PC that's basically held on a server somewhere else that you basically remote into using a terminal. Because our facility only had these Dell terminals, if your computer crashed, basically, if the physical computer crashed, you literally just sat there and let the person know, hey, I'm having some issues, my computer crashed on my end, I'm getting it back up, just bear with me just a moment, and you could put them on hold via the hard phone that you had. Usually once you got back into Citrix, everything would be as you left it because it's not actually hosted on the local machine. It's on a server, you know, miles and miles away. So that usually wasn't a problem. Now, when Citrix went down, that was a problem. Citrix was, and it was terrible whenever Citrix went down because we couldn't even, like, when Citrix went down, we genuinely could not even, do our jobs, really, but they still forced us to stay, on the phones and basically provide what they called, you know, like the bare minimum technical support. So, like, telling people to turn their phone off and on again. And then if they, if that didn't work, basically telling them to call back later. Which was incredibly frustrating, and incredibly frustrating for our customers. And we very regularly would get hit with a ton of bad surveys, whenever this happened. But, you know, our people still forced us to do it. And, of course, there was next to no communication between, like, actual Verizon and Alorica. But, you know. Actually, I need to go down here. Yeah. I forgot where I was going originally with that rant, but it was a thing. And then on to some other spicy stories that I have about that company. Again, this is not my story, but I know the people involved in this story and was told by them what had happened. So, as with any workplace, people are dumb and like to shit where they eat, aka they like to try to date coworkers or hook up with coworkers. Which, for those of you who are not old enough to have entered the workforce yet, please don't do that. That's a stupid idea. Do not shit where you eat. And by that I mean, if you enter into a relationship with a coworker, there's a very high chance that that relationship is probably going to go sour because workplace people are not your friends. They are literally just there and, like, are friendly to you because you have to be around them for, you know, anywhere from 4 to 8 hours a day. So it's not good. It's just not good. But, Alorica, Azurion, they're both A names, did have a major problem with people, hooking up. And so there was one time that there was an expert and a coach, who were hooking up. Now, said expert, their spouse also worked for the company, also worked for Azurion. They were both experts, aka people on the phone. And I believe it was the men's bathroom this happened in. Basically, somebody went to go to the bathroom one day and noticed conspicuous noises coming from one of the stalls. The handicap stall, I think. And they were in the stall next to it, so they look down and they see 2 sets of shoes under the wall of this to the handicap stall. And basically, these 2 sets of shoes were facing each other. And so this person goes, what the fuck? And they contact, you know, they basically, like, leave the bathroom in a hurry. And they run across my friend, who was a coach, and told him what they had seen in the bathroom. Said coach goes, basically internally is just like, shit. And basically goes, you know, hey, thank you for alerting me to this. You know, go ahead and go back to the floor or your break or whatever it is you were doing. I'll handle this. So they grab another coach for accountability reasons. And literally, like, they went in, confirmed that said noises were there, and then they waited by the door for the person to come out. And after a little bit, one came out, and then the other one came out, and they held both of them and took them up to HR, like, basically immediately. Oh, hey, Lily! I'm telling some stories about Jurion. Welcome by. I was talking about the agent and the expert who got caught boinking in the bathroom. Yeah, it was a whole ass thing. But how are you doing today, Lily? I hope you are doing well. Yeah, spicy story time. I love spicy story time, don't y'all? So yeah, this was a whole ass thing that happened. Lily's got some of the more interesting stories because she's had to work much more closely with HR than I ever did. I'm doing well, had a scam interview and then slept more. A scam interview? As in, like, the person who was interviewing you wasn't what they seemed to be? Question mark? Oh yeah, but anyway, I also feel like I should tell the story about how I got fired at Azurion as well, because I'm still pissed about that story. I don't think the job is legit. Interview was 6 minutes long and had 7 people, and we were all muted. Ooh. Or if it is legit, it's not something you want to be dealing with. So I do have a story about how I got fired from Azurion as well, because that company was bullshit in a lot of cases. I had a habit of cycling through managers, because we would basically trade off who our coaches were, who our managers were, fairly regularly. Probably has a huge turnover rate. Yeah, more than likely. That seems to usually be the case with those. But yeah, anyway. So, because we regularly switched between coaches, I had an issue where I would regularly, like, bounce back and forth between coaches who liked me and coaches who absolutely hated my guts. Because I was an angry little shit who would not, like, stand for somebody treating me or anybody else on my team badly. And that would happen occasionally. And something that would happen very frequently is that certain coaches would basically form like little cliques in their with their agents, and then like neglect the other ones on their team, which I was not going to stand for. So that put me on the wrong side of quite a number of coaches, most of them female, surprisingly. I got along really well with my male coaches. Didn't get along well with the female ones. So the last coach that I had there, and I won't name names because I don't know if she's still there or not, but she really did not like me. Again, partly because I took no shit. She is, yeah, I don't like her. She's a fucking bitch. But yeah, so she did not like me because I would actively call her out on her shit. And originally, I did not do it in front of other people. I would only do it in private as sort of a, hey, this is wrong. Like, this is what's actually the case according to, like, everything in our manuals / our databases / everything else. And she would get pissy and say that I was wrong. And I was just like, if you got some information that I don't have, you need to share it with me, because everything we have access to says you're the one who's in the wrong. And then usually a day or two later, she would issue a correction. Not even acknowledge that somebody had said anything, just, issue a correction as if she had never been wrong in the first place. Just, just so you're aware, things have changed and it's now this, when usually it was like whatever had already been a thing in the first place and that she was just wrong about. And then eventually, like, she kept doing it, so I started bringing it up to other people. I started bringing it up during our meetings. It's just like, no, that's wrong. And then she would get really pissed. And she would go look up the information and then have to issue said correction again. And then she started doing the thing where she basically formed a clique with some of the girls on the team and then neglected certain other people. I was one of them, and so were a number of other people that I had formed friendships with. And I got to hear a lot from the rest of the team, like, about the fact that they felt like they were being neglected, that they weren't given, the time and attention that they needed in order to do their fucking job effectively. Especially because some of them were newer hires at this time. Because this was after the sales debacle. Oh, that's a story in and of itself. And, like, when I started advocating, harder for a lot of those people who were having those issues, she, I guess, decided that it was just time to get rid of me. And so she started looking for any little thing she could write me up over. Like, literally, any little thing. And eventually, she did manage to find something by I was put on a corrective action for a thing. It was originally for my sales goals. Because, unfortunately, while this had originally been a technical support position, it turned into a sales position. It's a whole ass story. Oh, it was a nightmare. Absolutely it was. Also, welcome by, Skookum. I hope you are having a lovely day so far. How you doing? But yeah, she was a fucking nightmare. And, I actually, like, every single time that I managed to get up whatever, like, that disciplinary action was on, she would add something else to it. Which confused the hell out of me, because usually at this company, I don't know if, and I genuinely don't know if this is something that had changed shortly before I was fired, but like she would constantly add things onto the disciplinary action that had nothing to do with what the original disciplinary action were for. And usually with this company, if there were multiple things that you were having issues with, you would have multiple disciplinary actions. You would be going through multiple tracks. And to be fair, I had that happen before. That's how I knew how it worked. Because, to be fair, I am very good at what I do, but even then, sometimes I slip, and I'll be the first to admit to that. You know, you can't be 100% all of the time. It just doesn't work like that. But this woman literally kept just adding more and more and more things to the same track. So that way, no matter what I did, I would just progress further and further down this same track. It was not multiple things. It was not, okay, well, you have brought this up to a satisfactory level, so, you know, you're off of this track, but you're now on this track for something else. It was just, no, your sales goal you're reaching sales goal, but, you know, now your average call handle time, or like, say, the best way I can give an example, and sorry, I'm a little bit all over the place on this one, but the way the tracks work is, like, you went through certain steps. Like, you went through, like, certain kinds of warnings, and then, like, having to work with your coach to figure things out, and setting goals, and things like that. And it was a multi-week process. And, like, say I was on step 2 for sales. I don't remember the exact details. This was well over a year ago at this point. But say I was on step 2 for like a process for my sales numbers. And I got my sales numbers up to where they were supposed to be by the time I hit that step 2. Now, what would normally happen is they go, okay, cool, you've done this. You know, you're showing consistent growth here. You're showing that you're doing what you need to be doing for this. But unfortunately, this other area, you're having some issues in this other area, and at this point, I have to put you on a disciplinary action for that as well, and you'll start a new track for that one. And that's not the way it was treated here. What she did was, you know, okay, you're on step 2 for your sales numbers, and you've gotten those up, but your average call handling has slipped. So we're moving you on to step 3. And then she would keep adding on more and more and more. And no matter what I did, like, no matter how many things I brought up to be where they should be, you know, she would, like, the moment anything slipped below perfect, she would hammer me for it. And because they weren't put on separate tracks like they should have been, eventually it just all built up to the point that I was eventually let go. And she was real fucking happy about it, too. And what pisses me off even more about it is, actually, I can teleport straight from here. Oh, I don't have Fulgord Float. Shit. Okay. What made me really pissed off about it, too, is that the way she handled it is, so a lot of these HR meetings, when you are, when you are going to be fired, they're called BPTP, and they usually happen, like, earlier in the day for the coaches. And I was a night shift person. I basically did not start my shift until 4 in the afternoon. Yeah, best place to perform, BPTP. So I did not start my shift until late in the afternoon. And I got off, like, basically super early in the morning, like 1 to 2 in the morning. So BPTP would already have happened by the time I had started my shift. And so the day I was let go, she knew that they were terminating me. And I was given no indication, no nothing. Literally just, she let me work, I think, the first 6 hours of my shift. And then after a certain point, she's just like, all right, we need to go into a meeting to discuss, to discuss your work. And at this point, like, she had been, in every meeting I'd had with her, she had been saying, oh, you know, you're improving, you're doing so well. And then and then in this meeting, she goes, you're fired, you're being terminated. You need to return your equipment tomorrow. You cannot work the rest of your shift. And mind you, I'd already worked most of my shift at this point. So I was just like, you seriously couldn't have fucking told me this sooner? Like, or you couldn't have, like, at least let me like, work out the rest of my shift and then go, you know, so sorry, but you're terminated, like, afterwards, so at least I could get so at the very least, you know, I could do that. No. And she sounded fucking gleeful about it. Like, this was not a, oh, we're sorry, like, you were doing better, but this is what we felt was the best we had to do. It's just like, oh, no, you're terminated. Sorry, honey. Sort of like sugary sweet, like, sort of sarcastic sound to it. It's just like, you're a fucking cunt. And sorry for anybody's, babby ears for that one, but, nah, this bitch was a cunt. And I fucking hate her to this day. I hate working at places like that. I just can't thrive at all. I hate it too, to be completely honest, but like, for the most part, when you're doing, like, base level IT, that's what you do. That's what you have to deal with. And, like, it just is what it is. When you're on frontline phones, when you're working in call centers, you have to deal with the stats. And I just accepted it as, like, part of what I had to deal with. Like, just being in IT. But the way she treated me, like, was absolutely fucking uncalled for. And I get it, as a coach, you may not necessarily want, like, you may not necessarily want somebody, like, undermining your authority and whatnot, but the thing is that I didn't originally do so around other people. Like, I would speak to her in private as a, hey, this is wrong, or if it's not wrong, then, like, the correct information needs to be shared with us. Like, we need to be given the, wherever this updated information is. Because otherwise, when we go to reference something, we are referencing incorrect information. And she would treat that like a personal attack. And when she got so insistent about it, yeah, eventually I did turn it into an attack. I'm not even going to front about that, but frankly, she fucking deserved it. Like, after that point, if you're going to be that much of a bitch about it, you did kind of deserve it. Sales killed our culture. I miss the old job. Fucking same. Like, I was actually perfectly happy working for Ashurion for a very long time. Before they introduced sales. Because it really was sales that killed everything good about that company. Because, like, before, like, yeah, you had to deal with difficult people occasionally, but for what we did, we got paid well. And, you got pretty regular raises as long as you did what you were supposed to be doing. The job itself wasn't particularly hard. Like, we were literally just tier 1 support. So if there was anything that was a little bit too difficult or that we couldn't figure out, we were able to reach out to tier 2, and it wasn't even a problem. But sales completely killed the culture of that company. And so many people, like we lost so many good experts once sales became implemented and became mandatory, because they saw the writing on the wall and were just like, I joined this job to be technical support. I did not join this job because I'm a salesperson. And if you've ever worked sales or if you've ever worked technical support, you know that those are two very, very different skill sets. Like, being a great technical support person very frequently does not equate to being good at sales. Because, like, you'll notice that a lot of people who work technical support tend to be pretty brusque about things and very sarcastic. Like, we got the dry wit and everything, and we can rub people the wrong way sometimes. Whereas for sales, you really gotta have, like, that sort of, like, people personality, like, being able to butter people up super easily, like, sort of deal. Which just, very frequently, those are not things that are going to go well together. And then after sales got introduced, like, it really felt like a lot of us were being punished for doing our jobs. I am not good at talking to people I don't know. Yeah, and I mean, that's also a thing, like, you can also be like fantastic at technical support and like not be able to deal with talking to people like talking to people very well either. Like some people just need to be like in the IT office in the back formatting laptops and being left alone. Like that's 100% a thing. Where do I need to go for this? That way. And to be fair, like if I ever have to go back into technical support, that's kind of what I want to be doing. Is I do not want to be customer facing anymore. It's fucking exhausting. I don't like talking to people as customers. Like, I love talking to y'all. Y'all here in my chat, you all are amazing. And, like, I can talk to you guys like you're my friends because you are. Like, to a certain point, especially my regulars who I get to talk to, you know, very frequently, you know, I can just talk to y'all like you're my friends. And that's great. I don't have to like... I don't have to deal with, like, a troubleshooting something for you while you're angry and, like, I'm having to maintain, like, a professional facade and, like, you know, massage your ego or anything. You know, y'all are just awesome like that. But, yeah, it's, you know, this is my bane might, not yours, dude. You should probably go kill the other one. Thank you. You know what? I'll help you out. You help me with mine. There you go. Alright, but yeah, it's like it's a whole ass thing. And where do I need, how do I get up from here? Oh, of course, you can fly. I cannot fly. But yeah, like having to be on the phones and talk to new people every day and like, you know, build up that relationship with them while also remaining professional and having to deal with like, oh, I hate the people that like you had to deal with and like they would insist on discussing like politics. It's just like, I really don't want to talk to you about politics. I guarantee you and I do not see eye to eye on politics, sir. This is very much not something you want to be discussing with me. Oh. Well. I tried to yeet myself and it did not work very well. Especially because, like, if you've ever, like, had the misfortune of talking politics with me, I'm a leftist. Like, I am an actual leftist. Not like what we call left in this country, because what's considered left in this country is still very much like skewed to the right pretty badly. And like our most left politicians are basically just barely left of center, if that. So yeah, no, like I don't like talking politics to many of our customers, especially working for Verizon, because many of them were like rich middle class like white people who were on the older side, so your stereotypical conservatives that I really do not get along well with. It was a whole ass thing. I don't really care about politics. Frankly, you should. And I'll not to soapbox about it, but in reality, politics really does affect every part of your life. And if you're young enough to where like you don't really have to interact with politics all that much, that's good. That's nice. But as an adult, and I do think, and I do wish that this attitude were more common, you should be paying attention to politics and everything, because they affect everything. And especially like with a lot of politics that are going on right now, they can also affect like the lives of your family and friends too. It's a good idea to be aware of what's going on in politics and take an interest in it, and to form your own ideas about what you like and what you like and what you want. So that way you're not basically just convinced to go along with, like, whatever somebody else says is good, you know, because you didn't take the time to form that interest and curiosity about it. But, you know, take that as you will. I love the people who made racist comments to me thinking I sounded white on the phone. Oh, God. Yeah, that... Like... Those people are fucking terrible. Like... Also, it's just like, you're really going to assume that just because somebody sounds white to you over the phone that they're going to agree with your racist-ass shit? Like, that says a fucking lot about you as a person. Not a whole lot about me. It certainly says a lot about you. And you couldn't even, like, really tell them to fuck off about it either, because if you did, you'd get in trouble for it. I love how they had to start telling new hires not to come to the job looking for an SO at work after the coach that was dating two experts and the screaming match that happened on the call floor. Oh goodness, did this happen after I left? I don't think I know that story. Oh my, please do tell me this story. I must know. That's hilarious. It was while I was there? When did this happen? Because apparently I wasn't there for it, at least, and I missed the story somehow. When did this happen? Give me all the deets. I must know. Another story for the story. Yes. Spill the tea. I must know. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I go out of my way to avoid being a part of drama and, like, dealing with drama personally, but I fucking love hearing about it. Because it's going to happen regardless. So I'm definitely going to enjoy listening to the drama, as long as it doesn't involve me or any of my friends. Hello, Jogi, welcome by. How are you doing today, hon? I gotta go that way. How are you doing today? Is your Thursday going well? Or has your Thursday gone well, since I imagine it's probably pretty late in the day for you now. Awesome, I'm glad to hear it's been going well. You missed a lot of my story time today. I was telling stories about shit that's happened at places that I worked at. Just 10 p.m. Fair enough. I mean, for some people, depending on what you consider, that could be considered pretty late. Did you change into an Aura? No, this character has always been an Aura. I have two characters. My main, which is the level 80 Dragoon. That is a Mikode. And then I have my streaming one, that is Aura. Also, welcome by, Mori. It is lovely to see you. How are you doing today? Oh, that's a bit sad, but I got too engrossed in Monster Hunter Stories 2 after work. I mean, fair enough. I ain't gonna begrudge you for that. And besides, the VOD will always be there if you want to get story time later. Okay, so it's been a long time since I told it, but pretty much a coach was dating an expert on their team, and then he got another expert Prager's, and she came and confronted him and the girl on the call floor. Pretty sure that was the order of the events. Mind you, this was after you were supposed to report if you were dating a higher up. Oh boy. Ooh, that's fucked up. That's also hilarious. But also, I'm sorry to hear that it's been a week, Maury. If you want to tell me about it, feel free. Sometimes it can be nice to vent and get that off your chest. That, and it's been story time today. Final Fantasy XIV is always story time, so... That's fucking hilarious, though. Like, damn, some of the people we worked with at Azurion were dumb. Like, really, really dumb. And also, I can settle this debate between both of you, Jogi and Dreader Lily. I love both of you the most. So, ha. My butt is about to be munched on by a flame-snotting T-Rex. Oh no, run away! I think it'll be fine, but thank you. Of course! We are always here for you. You're gonna go? Alright, Elnick. Honestly, I was just thinking about wrapping things up here. I think I'm done with story time for the moment because my throat is also really starting to hurt after I chose violence with pepper earlier today. So I am actually going to see who I can send all of you lovely souls over to. It is, as always, very lovely to see all of you, and I'm very glad that all of you came by and joined me for this. Especially because I know things were a little bit quiet earlier in stream today. Alright. Ooh. It looks like our favorite bard is playing Bloodborne. So I'm going to send all of you over to him. Alright. So again, thank you so very much, everybody, for coming by and hanging out with me. I will be streaming again tomorrow. I am not sure what I'm going to be streaming tomorrow, as Fridays are my variety day. If you want a chance to suggest something for me to play, you can always feel free to join my Discord or talk to me on Twitter. But otherwise, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day today, and go give Lau some love for me.